Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me on the ice here on ASTV, brought to you by Caisse Financial and Doaks Fuels. On tonight's show, we welcome finally a coach, general manager from the Northern Ontario Junior Hockey League, Kyle Brick. Coach Brick's going to join us to talk about the return to play finally for some of the teams in the NO, as well as how those teams are preparing and following protocols and return to play guidelines for their respective color-coded health districts that we'll discuss, as well as the enjoyment and the fact we get to see hockey in part of that league. So we're going to talk about how the league's enjoying it, how the communities are enjoying it, and how the teams are staying safe through it all, and also how you're able to keep the team together for such a long duration off the ice. So please welcome Kyle Brick of the NO. Kyle Brick, thanks for joining me very much on the ice. How are you doing this fine evening?
Excellent. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. No, Kyle, it's been great to get a hold of you finally. It's great to see hockey back in the NO. How excited were you to finally hear the news and then say, okay, now I've got lots to do here?
Yeah, you know what? It was pretty exciting for me as a coach, general manager, let alone the look on the players' faces when they got to walk in the rink that day was something special to see. So, you know, the guys they're really amped up. They're taking it a day at a time, and they're so grateful that they're able to tie the skates when so many other guys in Ontario and Canada aren't able to.
Absolutely. No, it's one of the few and far organizations that's been able to put something together. Before we get into the final return to play here, Kyle, give me a little bit of background with your work with Blind River. I mean, you've been coach for them with the last 4 years, correct? And then GM for half of that?
Yeah. I think this is my 5th year here in Blind River. It's been a wild ride. You know, me and a very close friend took this team over about 5 seasons ago, I guess. And, you know, the team was kind of struggling, and, you know, 1-win seasons and 3 and 4 win seasons. So we kind of had our work cut out for us, but, you know, we were able to have success in our first year and go right to the finals. And, you know, that kind of paved the way for us. Right. So, you know, anytime you have success as a junior program, you know, kids kind of line up and want to come and play for you. So that was really helpful. It made recruiting a lot easier. And now we're just, you know, chasing that elusive league championship. So hopefully we can get there pretty soon.
Now explain to me, you go from a 1 to 3 game win seasons to an over 500 record in your first year. 33 wins total, I think, was your best year, I believe, in your 4 or 5 year duration. What does that do for a team in terms of building a pedigree and a tradition for the upcoming year, saying, here's a team in the NO, we're Blind River. Not many of us know where we're from or where Blind River even is, but how are you able to attract great talent for the team and put a great winning tradition on the ice?
I think the main thing for us was, you know, we put a big emphasis on winning, but it wasn't the main thing. We knew that if we developed players and got them ready for the next level and were able to send them to, you know, say the OHL or some Division III or even Division I schools, or even some higher leagues like the BCHL or the North American League, that we knew that record would kind of speak for itself. A lot of players nowadays, they're interested in team success, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, they want to know what you can do for them and how you get them to the next level. So when we're committing players to schools and we're sending kids on to better leagues, and I think you know, that track record kind of speaks for itself, and a lot of players and, you know, parents and agents kind of took note of that, and, you know, it made recruiting a little bit easier.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm usually good at geography, Coach. Where is Blind River, Ontario?
So we're pretty much directly in the middle between Sudbury, Ontario and Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. So we're about 8 hours on this side of Thunder Bay. So okay. We're way up there. We're pretty north. Let's put it that way. So we're about seven hours north of Toronto.
Okay, that puts it into a little perspective. Yeah. I've done that drive along the Trans-Canada, and I know between Sudbury and the Soo, it gets a little trekky in the wintertime. It's not the nicest of drives, let's put it that way.
Yeah, we've had some interesting bus trips over the past 5 years, but everything's good.
Okay, well, we'll leave bus trips alone because
Yeah,
I know that
for
a lot
sure.
of Slapshot and different movies are shown.
Yeah.
When did you finally get the news that the NO was going to be starting up this shortened season here in 21?
Well, it was kind of a battle. The kids came in early September, and we were working and we were training, trying to get ready for a season that we really weren't sure was going to happen. But we kind of got the word at the end of September that we're going to start playing exhibition games, and then the league was going to start playing regular season games the first week in November. So we were able to play into November and December, and then after Christmas, we had kind of been shut down up until last week when we finally got to start to play. So it's been a very wild ride.
So you actually were able to play a bit of a season in 2020, whereas a lot of the leagues were shut down completely. Is that because of the color-coded health districts?
Yeah, so the way Ontario works right now is, just give you a little Coles Notes version of it, is each health unit in Ontario has a color rating. And in these color ratings, there's certain things you can do as far as how many people can gather and inside arenas or weddings, festivals, anything like that. And also the color scheme also tells you if you can cross into other units as well. So there definitely were some challenges for our league because in total, I think there's 5 or 6 different health units within the Northern Ontario Junior Hockey League. So, if my health unit was good and was allowing us to cross into another one, the one we're crossing into might not want that to happen, right? So there was a lot of, give and go and some confusion there, but we were able to get started in November, which was great.
So we had a little bit of a season in November. It stopped as 21 hit the calendar.
Yeah.
Did we foresee the fact or the potential that there may not be the continuation of this season and we would have to cancel it like a lot of other leagues in Canada? Or was it always the opportunity to say, okay, let's keep this window open as long as we can so at least we can have most teams participate?
The biggest challenge was in January when, the guy in charge of Ontario kind of shut down the whole province. So that was the battle, right? And we were shut down for January into early February, and we really just didn't know. We didn't know if we were going to come out of the lockdown, and we didn't know if we were going to be able to play again, at any point this season. So that took quite the toll on the players, but we were fortunate enough that the lockdown was lifted in most areas and in ours in Northern Ontario, and we were able to get back on the ice.
Perfect. Don't go anywhere yet, Coach. We're going to come right back. We're going to talk about the teams that are going to be involved actually in this latter half of the season. And we'll talk more about the details coming back on the ice. Back here with Coach Brick here on the ice. Now, Coach, all the teams aren't participating in this last half of the season. So how many teams do we have and how are they moving forward?
So currently right now we've got 2, 5, 7. We got 7 teams currently still participating in the league play, with one team sitting idle just because of the odd number. So,
Okay.
Out of 12, I guess, we had one team this year, the Elliott Lake Wildcats. They took a leave of absence from the season. And then we have another American-based team, the Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan Eagles. So they ran into their own problems with crossing the border and stuff. So they've been out. So we're 7 out of 10 right now, which with all the complications and the hardships, I think that's not a terrible number.
So that's not bad at all. When you consider the start only occurred last week or last weekend, was there a 14-day quarantine where we had to participate in with the players and the staff prior to that start date?
Yeah, so once kids came back, some teams, what they did after Christmas was their kids just kind of stayed home throughout the lockdown. Actually, our kids returned on December 28th. So they've been sitting idle until the start of the season last week. So I give a lot of credit to my guys. But before we could start league play, the team said who had sent their players home, there was a 14-day quarantine for the players and staff in order to start league play. And that was part of our, return to play manual. That was actually quite phenomenal, put together by league executives and some other people within the league that actually went above and beyond and allowed us to even start playing this year.
So that protocol or that game plan that was put together by the executives, was that followed by all 7 teams or all teams that were going to be involved in the second half?
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. So, they're 14-day quarantine, and then if we're able to switch cohorts, what they call it, so they're allowing a 50-man cohort, because right now, currently, the teams that are playing within their health units. So we haven't crossed over into another health unit. Like we're playing the Sault Ste. Marie, the Thunderbirds, and they're part of Algoma Public Health like us. So until some colors change for the better, we're not going to be able to cross over and play a different unit. So,
okay. How many games are we expected to play in this half of the 21 season?
We're doing right now. We got a 6-game series going with the Thunderbirds. We play tomorrow night, and then 2 more on the weekend. So that'll complete that 6-game series. By that time, we're kind of, hoping that the colors are kind of realigned, which would allow us to cross over and play. There's 3 teams in the Sudbury district: Espanola, French River, and Rayside Belfour. So we're hoping that we can cross over after this series is over and play them. But if we're not able to do that, then we'll just finish out the year playing against the Sault.
So it'll be another 6-game series, perhaps, against the Sault, and you guys will love each other even more, right?
Oh yeah, there's no love lost there to begin with. Let alone that we played them 6 times in November, and now we play them 6 more, and then maybe another 6. So the blood's boiling a bit. Yeah, the
blood's boiling, I'm sure. Yeah. Now, when it comes to returning to the ice, what were, like you mentioned, your team was back before the new year, and they were very resilient. What were the activities they were doing around the ice, keeping them busy, and still maintaining that fire within the belly, so to speak, to know that they're coming back to hockey?
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. You speak about the fire in the belly and trying to keep the kids motivated, because, the quarantine or the lockdown was tough on everyone, let alone, 18 and 19-year-old kids. So what we were able to do within the rules of the lockdown, you were allowed to exercise with groups of 4. So I had my kids out in groups of 4 doing, just little workouts, try and keep them motivated. I give them little tasks on Zoom or something along those lines, right? Just to kind of, keep them interested. We touched on team video, on Zoom calls, just have a lot of discussions about that kind of stuff. So I'll be honest, it was a battle to keep a lot of players motivated, and I won't lie, I lost that battle with probably about 6 guys who ended up just, couldn't handle it and packed it in for, personal reasons and making sure their mental health was intact. So, everyone makes their own decision, but, I give credit to the guys that have stuck it out here.
That's one of the things I was going to ask you in terms of your turnaround from your numbers of your team in November to your team that looks now in the beginning of March. You said about 6 players not continuing on.
Yeah. It's been tough, right? Because in a lot of the cases they were, some 20-year-olds and some guys that have been with me for a long time that had to make some real difficult life decisions. So, I give them credit for having the courage and maturity to make them. Unfortunately, we lost them as part of our hockey team, but, at the end of the day, sometimes you got to give up the dream, I guess is what you want to call it. But, they were paying billets to be here with the unknown, and that ends up costing money. So, we were able to replace some of those guys, bring some guys in from, other leagues that hadn't got the opportunity to play, that were a little bit more gung-ho and were willing to, to move the Blind River on a hope and a prayer. And, it's worked out for some of those guys.
with these new additions to the team, are they being given, I guess, grants to play for Blind River this year, and they are returning to their own team, or how does that work in terms of the transactions?
You know what? Some of the guys I brought in, I mostly brought in 20-year-olds. Just because I knew that they would be highly motivated, right? Because they're playing for their future. They need to play games so that schools can see them, so that they can send game tape, all that sort of thing. I have zero interest in bringing in a younger player and developing them for another team for 2 months and then sending them back for them to reap the benefits.
No, absolutely. You're being honest with me, Coach.
Yeah,
I'm glad you are, because
there's
there's no point calling a spade not a spade. I mean,
yeah.
that's the way it's got to be. I mean, you want to see excellence on the ice, and 20-year-olds are going to give you that because that's their last hoorah, so to speak.
Right.
And I mean, you guys have a great 6-game. You're in the middle of a 6-game contest with the Sioux, and you didn't fare so well on the weekend, like you said. You're playing later this weekend to finish up that 6-game slate with them. What have you noticed in terms of the community of Blind River, seeing that the hockey is returning? And do you see some excitement with that comes along with it?
Yeah, well, I can speak to that just from we sold tickets on Saturday for our game on Sunday, and right now we're only allowed to have 50 people in the arena. So we were selling tickets at 11 o'clock, and there was a lineup out the door at the rink at 10.
Wow.
So it's and then some very upset and frustrated people when I had to close the ticket booth to say we're at our 50. Sorry guys, right? So the town has been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal since I've been here, and junior A hockey teams, it's they don't turn a lot of profit, right? So especially with us, we don't have an owner. We're community driven based on sponsorship and player fees. So our community has really bought into the resurgence of this hockey team, and I can't be any more thankful.
How has that relationship with the new and the old billets that work with Blind River over the course of these years, and the uncertainty of a season and what this pandemic has brought to the community?
Tons of credit to the billets, because they're bringing in these players into their homes from sometimes they're hot zones, right? So and we have protocols in place that make sure they show up with a negative test, and they're tested frequently here. But still, it's our team is kind of an easy finger to point at in a community if there was to be an outbreak, right? Because we got players from all over the place. But we've put protocols in place. We had the kids tested every 3 weeks for the first 2 months of the season. We've done everything possible, but all the credit goes to the billets to keep them in the house and keep them motivated to be here, because they're doing it the time that I'm away from the rink. So I got to give a lot of credit to them.
So the protocol within the rink, you said you had 4 guys working with you at once. Were they showing? Tell us what that process was, going to the rink, working out at the rink, and then leaving.
No, it wasn't even the rink, because our rink was closed down. Okay. So I was just trying to find an empty parking lot somewhere in Blind River, and we were doing, I was pretty much just bagging them with plyometrics and other conditioning drills. So trying to keep it as fun as possible, turn into some little games and stuff. But it's if what I'll say is the kids had to be questioning, what am I doing here with coach getting, ran into the ground with 3 other teammates for 2 hours a day when I could be at home with my family? And I'm sure that crossed their mind, but that just speaks to some of the character of my guys that stuck it out.
Absolutely. So you weren't chasing them with the old Mercedes-Benz from Rocky IV, and they weren't picking out rocks and stuff like that?
No, nothing like that. It might have been car in neutral, they had to push up a hill, but nothing too crazy, right?
I don't know how much snow there is in Blind River, but I remember that car getting stuck several times, so it might have had to get pushed out of the snow, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you know what I'm talking about there, Coach. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So obviously now that the rink is open, 50 players or 50 people in the stands. Is it now friends and family are part of that 50, or is it just 50 tickets, that's it?
Yeah, so what we do is I've kind of broke the team into 2 groups. And group 1, it alternates on game days. So 12 kids will have the opportunity to buy tickets, 2 tickets each for their family. if they're from the area, right? So we pretty much give 24 tickets to the team for parents and billets, and then the other 24 kind of go to the public. So really, at the end of the day, there's only 24 tickets available for the public, so it goes quick. It's unfortunate because we do have a great following of fans, and the community supports us a lot. But at the end of the day, we're a pay-to-play league, and our players are paying quite a bit of money to be here and be part of this. So we want to make sure their parents have a chance to see them play.
What's the capacity of that rink?
Yeah, it's about 800.
So you're really playing at that's a 16th of the size.
Yeah, pretty much. We just turn the music up a little bit louder to create a better atmosphere.
I was just going to say, they got to cheer a lot louder, those 50, right?
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? We've been pretty fortunate that we've had some diehard fans, and they're still the ones that make the noise, and they're the ones that get up in time to get tickets for every game. So we're really lucky to have them.
Coach, we're going to take one more quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about what hockey means to you returning, as well as to some of these players. We'll be right back on the ice.
At Super 8 Winnipeg West, we have your comfort in mind with free Wi-Fi and free daily Superstart breakfast. We also have guest laundry facilities, a state-of-the-art fitness center, and a jetted hot tub. Sleep well in a spacious guest room equipped with plush new bedding, a 50-inch flat-screen HD TV, microwave, mini refrigerator, and Keurig coffee maker. Or book a suite with a kitchen, ideal for extended stays. Super 8 Winnipeg West, located just inside the perimeter on Portage Avenue.
Back once again with Kyle Brick, the head coach, general manager of the Blind River Beavers. I've never seen a blind beaver before, but I don't want to. But nonetheless, interesting choice of name. Obviously, the colors are red and white and silver. Is that correct? Red, white, black?
Yeah, red, white, black. Actually, our home jerseys are cream right now, so it's kind of neat. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Now, we're going to talk more on a general term here. And I mean, you're one of the fortunate leagues to start in 20, finish here in 21. What does it mean to you as a coach and a general manager and one that loves hockey to see hockey return back to a form and hopefully a better improvement to a form in the fall?
Yeah, it was everything for a lot of kids to be able to get back and play. And going through a lockdown and trying to figure out whether we were even going to get that opportunity was really tough on the players. And I'll be completely honest, it was tough on me as well. There were days where I was struggling, like this is my passion and this is my job. This is how, I pay the bills, right? So it's one of those things where, it just affected so many people. And for some of the kids that were drafted, like we got some OHL draft picks on our team that, had plans to play this season as kind of a development year to get ready for the OHL. And, and hopefully they've got enough time and development in that they can step into that. But, this interesting year has kind of bumped everything back, right? So for even some of these kids to have the opportunity to say that they played competitive hockey this year, heading into whatever endeavor they take on next year, it will be really big.
I mean, you just brought up a huge point of other leagues. I mean, you're not poaching players to play with you. Rather, it's just the fact that you're given an opportunity as a player to get on the ice and play competitive hockey, whereas leagues like the OHL and now the SIJHL canceling their season, they don't have that opportunity. And if they're looking to forward to the next level, they basically have a year where they haven't been able to do anything.
Well, yeah, that's right. And it just affects, now it's affecting the new kids coming in, right? So because there's going to be a backlog of players. So it's really unfortunate that this happened, because it just affected so many things. Like I was talking to a player who played with me for most of the year last year, but finished in the OHL. And he's been bugging me for 5 months. Like, coach, can I come back? Can I play with the team? And unfortunately right now the OHL doesn't have an agreement with tier 2 teams, right? Because they're still hoping of moving forward. So this poor guy, he's been sitting idle and just waiting, hoping for the OHL to start as,
Yeah.
you know, as a 19-year-old in the O. And, you know, is he going to get an opportunity to be an overager? Maybe not, right? So there's just so many things that it's affected in the grand scheme.
I mean, we've seen the O shut down. U Sports has been shut down, another avenue to which a lot of kids, if they're academically inclined, will enter into the U Sports, the OUAs and whatnot. Is that an avenue to which, you know, the NO kind of looks and says, you know, you're a pretty good student and you've got these years of eligibility left to go back to school in Canada. Why don't you consider U Sports?
Yeah, you know what? I always push my my players that avenue, as you know, we have good relationships with the schools that are close to us here in Laurentian and Nipissing in North Bay, and even we've developed a relationship with Lakehead with Andrew Wilkins up there looking at some of our guys. So, you know, sometimes people don't realize how good the hockey is in U Sports. Like, these are guys that have come out of the OHL and, you know, have been elite at the tier 2 level. And, you know, at the end of the day, they're 23, 24-year-old men just, you know, battling it out. So we definitely push the school route just because of, you know, the education piece and, you know, giving players every opportunity to succeed in the game and in life with school.
Last question, set of questions I'm going to ask you, Kyle, involving the players. When you saw the players hit the ice for the first time last weekend, how happy were they, and how happy were you for them?
Well, they were really, really excited, and you know, I was super happy for them until after the first drill started, and it was just an absolute gong show. But we worked our way through the rust, and you know, it was just because I saw their faces through the whole time when the lockdown was on and they weren't playing. You know, the phone calls from players that said, you know, coach, I'm thinking about packing it in, and you know, and me spending the time to talk to them about some of their concerns and their mental health, and just to see the elation on their face when they walked into the dressing room that day. And you know, I made sure I had a front row seat to it, and you know, I'll remember a moment in the first practice where, you know, one of the drills was just going, there was pucks everywhere. It was just an absolute mess. And I was about ready to kind of, you know, do my thing and lose my marbles a little bit. But I just took a deep breath and I said, look, like, they were still just so happy to be out there. And it was such a nice privilege.
I mean, exactly. I mean, I've talked to a lot of coaches that have been having the fortunate return to play and the accessibility to the game. And it's amazing what this sport does to young men's psyches and mental health, just giving them that opportunity to get back on the ice, to be with friends, teammates, and compete.
Yeah, and that was the big thing. So, like, what a lot of people won't realize is these kids were here since December 28th, but they weren't seeing each other.
Yeah.
They were locked down. They were, you know, they didn't want to be a reason or risk anything that would put our hockey season in jeopardy, because at the end of the day, if there is a case or if there is a scare within a team, you know, it's just gonna pretty much end the season, right? So these kids, they bared down and, you know, they grinded it out for a month and a half, and it definitely paid off. So, you know, I was happy to be part of that with them, and I went through the ups and downs with them the whole way, rode the wave, and now here we are. We're getting to play hockey, although our last 3 games haven't been anything to shake our heads at. But, you know, we're just happy to be out there at the end of the day.
We just hope that those color restrictions can ease up a little bit so you can play some teams in a different district. What's your take, Coach, on the possibility of returning to, I don't want to say it normal hockey, but a potential full season come the fall of 21?
I'm optimistic.
It's tough to say. It's optimistic.
I'm optimistic, and you know, I need to be right, because I need to keep my guys that are coming back with that same type of attitude. But you know, my fear would be returning to the traditional game. Like, you know, are we going to get back to contact, because we're not playing contact right now in the NL, right?
Yeah.
So little things like that, you know. And I'm hopeful. I want it to happen, but you know, it's been such a wild ride this year. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, there's some drastic changes, or if we're in the same situation we are right now come fall.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to watch hockey without contact. I agree. And
Yeah, it definitely is. And, it hurt some players. It made some players better. So, it was a lot of give and take with it. But, we had to change a lot of systems, and we had to learn as coaches as much as the players did as well.
So we have how many more games left with the Sioux?
3 more this week. We got tomorrow night in the Sioux, and then Saturday, Sunday at home. And then if we're unable to cross units, we'll probably take a week off and get back at it, another 6 to 8 game series with the Thunderbirds.
There we go. So NOJHL.com is where you'll find all the league info, correct?
Correct.
And they have all the teams listed there, their schedules, and very up-to-date news with what's going on in the league, which I'm really impressed with. I was able to easily look through the site and find some details and whatnot. So good luck with the rest of the season, Coach. I hope that it all pans out. I hope you have a chance to play other teams beside the Sioux, although it's nice to share. I guess you can't really have any Donnybrooks with the teams, can you?
No, not really. Like right now, it's
as much as they want to, right?
Well, yeah, intentional contact leads to major suspensions right now. So it's as much as I'd love to see an absolute Donnybrook after these first 3 games, I kind of got to keep the reins on the boys here.
Well, I'm sure they just enjoy the fact of being on the ice is
That's
first
right.
and foremost. Coach Brick, thanks for joining me here on the ice.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Right on. And that was Coach Kyle Brick, the general manager, head coach of the Beavers there in Blind River. Thank you for watching, everybody, on the ice, again, on ASTV. Thank you to our sponsors, Caisse Financial and Doaks Bulk Fuels. Watch us Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 o'clock Central. Thank you very much again. Have a great rest of the evening and take care of yourselves.